Happy New Year, everyone. Give Me the Hot Sauce is still rolling strong into 2024. We're excited about what's coming up in the new year. Stacey's got some big guests on the horizon that we're looking forward to bringing in. Our guy, Timmy Whispers, if you're watching on YouTube, is not with us. He is enjoying some vacation time in Fort Myers. I guarantee you, Stacey, he's red as a lobster.
Yeah, we had a chance to FaceTime him a little earlier today, and he's starting to turn. He's only been there less than 24 hours, and he's starting to turn, Mark.
And he's already late. You know, he's supposed to be at the start of the show. We don't know what he's doing. He's drinking a pina colada at Trader Vic's or something like that.
Virgin pina colada. That's what he's drinking out there. You know, this guy's late to the show. Come on, man. We got to work. I got in at like 3 a.m. last night.
And you were here. Yeah,
I'm
ready
here
to go.
Wow.
I saw on Facebook he and his lovely wife, Maureen, are celebrating their 31st wedding anniversary. So congratulations to Maureen for putting up with Tim for all that time.
Maureen's the backbone of that organization. She wears the pants in that relationship. Tim is the he's below. She's the queen, the matriarch. She tells everybody what to do, and Tim just follows.
That's probably why he's not on the show right now. She had other plans for him. So
she probably told him, we're going to the beach.
Yeah.
We're going to enjoy this weather. I don't give a damn about no damn podcast to get you. He said, wait a minute, baby, please, I got to get with the guys. No, you're going to go with me, and you're going to get burned. Come on.
Well, Stacey's back from a 2-game road trip. Obviously, the Wednesday game at Madison Square Garden was a national telecast, which was interesting. So what's the perspective like for, I know that happens infrequently, but when you're at the arena, kind of watching it, taking it all in, is it a whole different experience for you?
Yeah, it's a whole different experience because you're there as a fan now. You know, and so you're, where they had us sitting, we were up in section 215. So we're in the media section. They had a place blocked off for me and Adam and Russ Leonard. And so we watched the game from up top. And there's a lot of Bulls fans in there. We saw a lot of Bulls fans. We saw Tim St. Clair. He was at the game. He brought his boys down for for a Christmas present. They got a chance, to catch the Bulls and the Knicks, and he's going to catch a Rangers game today. The Rangers play. So he brought his boys down there. So it was really cool. We just ran into him. It was like, it's like finding a 4-leaf clover. We were up on the second level on the 8th. We had to go up to the 8th level of Madison Square Garden up by the roof. Like, I'd never been up there. And I'm like, man, this is a pretty big place because, there's elevators everywhere, and there's security everywhere. So your NBA credentials don't work in Madison Square Garden. You have to get special Madison Square Garden credentials. And so that was a hassle. They tried to do Rodney King on us, but, me and Adam, because we didn't have, we were, at third quarter, we decided to go down early because we didn't want to get stuck in the elevators, with thousands of people trying to get on the elevators to get out of the suite area.
Yeah.
So we go early, third quarter. We go down to where the Bulls locker room was, which is the 5th floor, which we always are, we're always down there. So we get off the elevator and there's 3 security guards waiting for us. And so as soon as the door opened, they're right there. I thought, I was like, wow, this is kind of weird. What are you guys doing? We're going to go to the Bulls locker room and finish watching the game from the locker room. Guy goes, no, you can't go there. And so we said, why? We have, got passes. This clearly said access to locker room access and court access. Okay. But it had media on it. And so the guy goes, well, it doesn't have staff. I said, it doesn't matter. It says clearly here that we're part of the team. I said, we're the broadcasters, and we're doing the night off. And they told us we can come down to the locker room. This is here, it is right here. That's not good here. So it was a whole big ordeal. I thought he was going to Rodney King me, but because it was getting kind of heated.
Get the taser out.
Yeah, he did. Well, I would have took that taser from him and tased him, a little sucker. It was like, and you try to be nice, But some people are just so rude, and I get you have a job to do, but clearly, we're not some regular fans sneaking off the elevator trying to go steal jerseys or something. You know what I'm saying? See a 6'11" guy, you see a guy that's 5'2", and then Russ Leonard's about the rest is about 6'2". So obviously we're somebody, and so to sweat us like that. And I said, okay. He goes, I said, well, why don't you call somebody? Can we call somebody to get this cleared up? No, you got to go to the 6th floor. I said, we're not going to the 6th floor. So you're going to have to call Bull security or somebody because we're not leaving. So I said, here, go get this. There's somebody in the locker room that can vouch for us. I said, I gave him 5 names. So our security guy, Ricky, was the one who came, and Big Rick, Tricky Ricky, that's what we call him. Tricky Rick came and vouched for us to come. And the guy goes, well, I'm just sorry, I'm doing my job. I'm like, you're doing it too good, buddy. You're doing it too good. Just, hey, was it Mall Cop with Paul Dort? What was his name?
Yeah.
It was kind of like
Blart,
that. Paul Blart, Mall Cop.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
They're probably still salty about all those block shots on Charles Smith.
Hey, listen, man. Hey, let it go. Let it go, man. We're all in our 50s now. Let it go, man. It happened. They were playing that video, and I saw it in the arena. They were playing in the arena. And, they were just showing old Bulls highlights, of the rivalry that we've had with the Knicks. And I just let it go, man. It's over, man. There's nothing you can do about it. We beat you. You guys were supposed to beat us that year. You had a better record. You fought for home court advantage, and it made no difference, okay? Because you know why? We walked in there. They jumped out on us 2-0. They thought they were going to beat us, and they thought they were going to go back to Chicago and sweep us. We take 2 games. We come back, pivotal game 5, the Charles Smith block gate.
Yeah,
because we were blocking his shot like it was like Michael Jackson. Just beat it, beat it, beat it. We just beating it all up against the glass. If you talk to Charles, he thinks he was fouled.
Yeah, there's no chance.
No, he's gonna be on the show. I'm gonna ask that question. I'm sure to this day he thinks he was fouled. But no, that was some good defense. That was some serious Bulls defense of the '90s.
Yeah,
that's what made us. That's what gave us those championships, was that defense. Where we were tenacious defensively.
Speaking of defense, there isn't any played anymore in the NBA. Did you see there were 5 teams that scored 140 points or more last night? It was some kind of record.
That's a disgrace.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Like, seriously, man. They need to come back and bring defense back. Because listen. I know some fans like the high scoring games, the dunks, the 3-point shots, but there's traditionalists out there that love basketball being played the right way. Being able to get out there and lock down, scores and team defense. When you go back, you look at those '90s, teams, not just the Bulls. There was a lot of good defensive teams back in those days. Boston was a good defensive team. Detroit was a good defensive team. Lakers were a good defensive team. There were a ton of good defensive teams back in the day.
See playoff scores in the '80s all the time.
Yeah, and I'm telling you right now, if you got a team that locks in defensively in this day and age, if some coach decides to buck the trend and says, you know what, we're not playing this way. We're not playing this. Screw analytics. We're not playing this way. We're gonna get after people defensively. We're gonna stay on our man. We're not switching. We're gonna fight over screens. We're gonna get the ball off the glass and run. I guarantee you, whatever coach does that, whatever coach has the guts to do that, that is going to be a championship coach. That is going to be a coach that's going to win some championships, at least go deep in the playoffs, and people will be copying what he's doing.
Yeah. Last night's game at Madison Square Garden, the first half was really good. Bulls played great. DeMar DeRozan was really impressive offensively. It seemed like their legs got tired. They seemed to lose their energy in the second half. What did you see?
Well, I thought they did get tired. I thought that, that's why I felt like in that Philadelphia game, that game was over before the fourth quarter. And that was one of those decisions that, as a coach.
What was it, 41-14 at the end of the first quarter?
As a coach, that's what you have to understand. You say to yourself, do we live to fight another day?
Yeah.
We got a game tomorrow. And then on top of that, we bust from Philadelphia to New
York,
which is over 2-hour drive, and got in late.
That'll kill your legs.
Yeah. So if you knew you were going to do that, and you as a coach, that's a tough decision, because you always want to compete to the very end. But that game was over like in the first quarter.
Yeah.
Like, they jumped out on the Bulls. I mean, it was personal. It was personal. You can see the way they came out. They were focused. Embiid was going to do Embiid things, but they got good games from Oubre. Tobias Harris played well, and Maxi's just doing Maxi thing. I mean, I'm telling you, that kid is a very good player. But it was personal. So after the first quarter, you kind of knew, that what they were on. And you got to see that we weren't meeting or matching the energy level that we needed to against Philadelphia. And I think, when you look at that fourth quarter, 25-12, that 43-18, that's the difference in the game, the 43-18, because the rest of the way, you're playing, the Bulls only won, the Bulls won 2 quarters, but that first quarter you were down so much, and it was like, you're fighting uphill.
Yeah, when you're down by 31 points at halftime, there's not much of a chance to win.
And I'm serious, Mark. That's when, as a coach, you got to say, our starters don't have tonight. Yeah. Hey, listen, I'm gonna put you guys on the shelf. We're gonna rest. We got a game tomorrow, and we were talking about this in the game. Is like, these are the type of games when you're Philadelphia and you got these big leads like this. This is where you get load management. This is what Phil used to do. When we'd be out in front of somebody, 25 or 30 points at the half, Phil would say, all right, starters, I'm going to put you out there for the first 3 or 4 minutes of the third quarter, get us off to a good start, bench, close it out, finish it out, and that's where you get your rest. That's where you get, your load management in game, blowing a team out, get your starters out. There's no need to keep your starters in. Now they did keep Embiid in there because he was trying to get
Get those phony
trying to get
stats. Yeah.
those stats,
Yeah.
that 30 points, and he was
10
trying to get a
rebounds.
10 rebounds and a triple double. So they kept him in there and they brought Maxey back in to get his average, which I thought was kind of bush league. But hey, you know what? If you don't, we might not like it. Stop it. That's what
Yeah.
I always say. Don't complain when we do it. Don't complain when we do it back to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, we got breaking news.
What do you got for us, Cisco?
Well, I just did some math right now. And if you do not include the first quarter from that 76ers Bulls game, the Bulls would have won 79-67.
Yeah, but they're not
Well,
25.
No, what
Yeah.
I'm saying is like if you completely disregard the first quarter, like you completely
Yeah,
take it out.
if
of
it was
the
the
game.
fifth, we'd all be
Yeah,
drunk. Yeah.
it's like horseshoes, buddy. It's like playing horseshoes right now. But we appreciate you trying to come in and
Yeah.
soften the blow, But
Trying-
unfortunately, you got to play the first quarter. Okay, that was the start of the game. The jump ball and the Bulls just weren't ready to play, and they came in, smashed us in the mouth, and it was expected because the Bulls had beaten them twice, and-
Including 3 days earlier.
Yeah, and I think they
Saturday.
won 4 out of 5 games against them. So it was one of those things where they wanted to send a message that, hey, we're better than you and we're going to show it. And they did. And so losing that game, I thought the starters played, too long. They left them out there too long. And knowing that you got a New York Knicks team with the trade that they had, bringing in Anobi from Toronto, they're a different team. They're they're a legit team now. You gotta really. They got Princess Achua to come in and come off the bench.
And
Hardenstein,
Tibbs will play the hell out of
Listen,
Anunoby because he can defend
yes, yeah,
four
yeah.
positions,
and he can score.
Yeah.
He can shoot threes. He can score. And the one thing about the Knicks, they don't do switching. They play you straight
Yeah,
up.
that's
They
Tibbs.
get right up in you. They're not switching. I mean, it has to be an emergency switch. Like if you're back in transition and the guy's out running, they switched in. But in their half court set, they have no really guys out there that you go, oh my God, we can take advantage of them. Their guys play, they get up and they defend, they take charges. They're well coached defensively.
They're going to miss Quickly, though. I see that they're starting both Quickly and Barrett as their starting backcourt in Toronto now. I like Quickly. I think he's a guy that, an instant offense kind of guy. He can get you 20 on any given night. When the Knicks go to their bench, there's not a whole lot there. They may make more moves for the trade deadline.
Yeah, but that's a sacrifice you had to make, though, because they were looking for a guy like Anobi, a big 3 that can play some stretch 4. Quickly they were going to have to pay him.
Yeah, that was part of it. Yeah,
and this is a kid, as you can see now in Toronto, he's going to have the same kind of ascension that Maxey had. They're very similar. They look just alike. They play alike. So, and these were the 2 guys before the draft that Calipari said these 2 guys are going to be superstars. You don't know it yet. Because I think they were role players on there. They started some games in Kentucky and, but when they went into the pre-workout, they blew everybody away with their quickness and their explosion at the guard position, kind of like De'Aaron Fox. And then people fell in love with that. But, he called it. He said, these 2 kids are going to be stars. And so now you're starting to see Quickly now it's the keys. He's got the keys to the car. Schroeder, I don't know if Schroeder's out, if they brought Schroeder off.
He's coming off the bench.
He's coming off the bench. Yeah. So, they're playing both those kids. And, RJ Barrett is a very good player. It's a very good player. He gets to play at home now. So
and they still have Barnes and Siakam and Pirtle, so they've got a nice mix of players.
I still think they're gonna move Siakam.
Yeah, they might.
I think they want to build. I think they want to build around Scotty Barnes, who's still young, and has proven that he's a player that is a key piece to their future. I think they're going to try to move Siakam and try to get some pieces back, some first round picks back, which he will command a lot. He's that kind of player. So there's a lot of teams that would love to have Siakam on the roster right now.
Well, the big news coming up for the Bulls, they've got a home-and-home series against the Charlotte Hornets, record-wise one of the worst teams in the NBA, especially when LaMelo Ball is sidelined like he is now. Zach LaVine is expected to play Friday night at home against the Hornets. And what are you hearing about how healthy he is and how ready to go he is?
Well, he's been working out with Windy City Bulls, practicing with the Windy City Bulls, that's a great thing to have. Great luxury for NBA teams to have is have a G League team in your city. And they've been at the Advocate Center practicing. So he's getting up and down running, and they're sure that he's going to play on Friday. Now, the question will be, what will his role be now? Is he going to come back and he's going to be the Zach LaVine who was before he went out and play the way he's always played? Or is he going to make some concessions in his game and try to conform to the way the team is playing now? Listen, I'm one of these people that keep telling people, everybody want to blame Zach for, the teams, losing games. I'm sorry, it's not his fault. Okay, if you didn't earn anything these last two games, you need scores in
You
this
need
league.
scoring, yeah.
Okay, so get that off, get that off your mind that it's Zach LaVine's fault. Because if Zach LaVine and Vooch is there last night in New York, we win that game. Okay, I think if both those guys are there in Philadelphia, I think it's a different story too. So you definitely need those two guys. As well as Drummond has played. You need Vooch out there. Vooch does so many things that go underappreciated. The passing, being able to read defenses, move without the basketball, hit some timely threes, and then Zach's ability to explode at any given moment and reel off 10 straight points. You don't really have, other than DeMar, you really don't. Kobe has shown some signs of it, but it's not consistent. And Zach is a guy that can consistently get you 30, 40 points when he's on.
Well, the Bulls Knicks game on Wednesday kicked off a new concept for ABC. They're trying a Wednesday night national game every week, and so they loaded up on their pre and post studio show. They had Adrian Wojnarowski on, and he again poo-pooed the whole idea that there's any kind of a trade market for Zach. I mean, I think again we don't know where the Bulls stand on that, but if they wanted to trade Zach, it's important for him to come back and play well over this next month to reestablish what his value is as a two-time All-Star.
Well, because he's been out, his value's gone down. And so it's important for him to come back and play well and show people that he's healthy. Okay. The narrative on Zach from a lot of teams is he doesn't impact winning. Okay. And you can't put that all on Zach. You have to, what is surrounding Zach? I keep saying, if Lonzo Ball doesn't go out, then Zach, that narrative of Zach changes because now Zach is playing on a winning team with a winning point guard that's helping you win games. That team last year before Zoe goes out, they were the number one team in the NBA with the record wise. So, and we got a small sample size of that. How we don't know how that would have been if Zoe would have stayed healthy the whole season, but it was trending that the Bulls were going to be a top team in the Eastern Conference had he not got hurt. So, so Zach gets a bad rap when it comes to that. And then, with this ABC thing, the reason why that was because of the writer's strike.
Yeah,
all
they
the
were
shows,
looking for
They were
programming.
looking for
Yeah.
programming,
Yeah.
and it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool to have a game on there, and it was pretty cool that it was the Bulls and the Knicks, two big market places, teams to play, and it was really cool to do that. I don't know how much it's gonna last. The Bulls get to play on TNT, I think, in a week or so in Toronto, and so I thought, it was important for them to look good yesterday, whether they win or lose. It was important for them to play well on TV because. Now next week, when you get ready to go on TNT's been known to pull teams. Like, oh, we don't want to see them. They stink. No, this will be an ugly game, and they'll pull them. That's why it was imperative that they play well yesterday and get people involved. Because I don't know what the ratings were with that game on a Wednesday night, but it'd be interesting to see what it was. But for them, they had to play well to keep TNT, I think, from pulling them and putting someone else in that spot.
Any update on Vooch? Because in the game against the Knicks, every time they went to that small lineup, and I'm not blaming Terry Taylor, the guy's 6'5". I mean, can't expect him to guard 7-footers. But then Hartenstein was killing him. They just couldn't keep him off the glass.
Let me tell you something. Hartenstein looked like, he looked like an all-star.
Yeah,
he had 5 blocks. He had 17, 18 rebounds, I think.
Yeah, 20.
He was just running all over the place, high energy. And now, with Mitchell Robinson out, he's the sole center, and you got, Prince Atroyer behind him or Precious Atroyer behind him. But he's gonna get a majority of those minutes. Plus, Tibbs likes him because he defends. He plays hard. He gets where
he
he's
blocked
supposed
a few
to.
shots last night.
He rotates. The rotations are always there with him. And he alters some shots, and so at the same time, you don't expect him to have those kind of games. I was really kind of caught off guard with that kind of game, but we didn't attack him, and then we go small. We don't have a lot of size. There's a lot of guards in this team, and Billy is comfortable playing a 5-guard rotation. Now, my biggest thing with the 5-guard rotation is that if you're playing a 5-guard rotation, that means you're pushing the ball, you're in transition, you're getting a lot of, catch and shoot 3-point shots, and you're running teams off the floor. If you're not doing that, and that's not what's happening out there, and you're getting, overpowered, overrun, giving up second and third, chance opportunities, and that small lineup does not work. It's not effective. And so, we were talking about in Philadelphia with the kid from Connecticut, Sangano, like play him, give him an opportunity to see what he could do because it's the next man up. He's the next biggest guy that we got. And this guy played on a national championship team, was the most outstanding player in the NCAA tournament. How about trying to see what he can do? Just at least 4-minute stretches.
Right.
4-minute stretches. Give Andre a break, and so he doesn't pick up a silly foul. Give him 4 minutes, 5 minutes break. The guy can rebound. He's a big body. Especially I would love to see him go against Embiid. Like I said, the last 4 minutes of that third quarter, when you knew Embiid wasn't coming back in the fourth because he was going to get his numbers, throw him out there and let's see what he can do with Embiid in that last 3 or 4 minutes of that third quarter. Because it's not like we're coming back. It's not like we got a 30-point play that we're gonna come back to. Throw him out there. Let him see what he can do.
Yeah, and the Bulls have an open roster spot. They're only going with 14 right now, really only 13 because Lonzo Ball counts on the roster, but he's not going to play this year. I thought that they might even reach down and bring Derek Favors up because he's still playing with Windy
Yeah.
City, a veteran big who can give you 10 minutes.
Well, listen, I mean, there's a ton of guys still out there that can help this team. This team needs to get bigger. And not take anything away from Terry Taylor. Terry Taylor is a small forward
Right.
size, basically
Yeah.
2-guard size. 6'4", and you got him down there playing against 7-footers.
Yeah.
It's going to be a mismatch every night, and especially if you're not allowing him to attack the big guys on offense. If you're not saying to him like, okay, we're gonna isolate you on the wing. We want you to attack that big guy, bring him outside, and just blow
Yeah, he's
by
just
him.
setting screens.
He's just setting screens, moving around,
Yeah.
and so the big guy never has to do anything. And Embiid, when he was on him, Embiid just basically played a zone.
One-man zone,
Just
yeah.
one-man zone. So no one could drive. The driving lanes were crowded because he was sitting there waiting, and that gave him the ability to go over and help and block shots and challenge shots. So when you're playing against Embiid, you know that he's going to kill you offensively. But the key to Embiid is you got to make him respect you, and that's where Vooch comes in. Vooch makes him respect him because Vooch can knock down a jump shot. He has to come out 18, 20 feet to guard Vooch, because if he doesn't, Vooch will knock down threes. If you don't have someone that can challenge him offensively, and even Andre Drummond, Andre Drummond, he has to box Drummond out for the rebounds, but offensively, he didn't really have to guard him. You just got to keep him off the offensive glass. He's just like, I can still be a zone with that guy, but Vooch makes him have to play defense.
It's going to be really interesting to see what happens over the next couple of weeks. The Bulls' schedule lightens up. They've got 2 games against the Hornets. They're going to play the Spurs again, so hopefully a chance to stack up some wins. We're going to shift our conversation to the Bears in just a minute with our Bears insider, Mark Grody. But first of all, I want to tell you about one of our great sponsors, our buddy Jeff Vucevic. When it comes to insurance for your auto, home, and business, make sure you contact the guy who treats you like a king. You'll feel royally treated by our guy, Jeff Vucevic. You can reach him at jeffvuk.com. That's jeffvuk.com. You see the number on your screen, 847-825-4783. And he has the best jingle in the business, courtesy of our guy, Stacey.
Nationwide is on your side.
There you go. All right, we're going to shift it to Bears coming up next. Mark Grody talking about Justin Fields and the season finale coming up against the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field. Right now, we're going to have some serious fun. Joining us via his laptop in beautiful Fort Myers, Florida, is our buddy Timmy Whispers. Better late than never. And also jumping on the show is our Bears insider, Mark Grody, kind enough to join us to give us the lowdown on what's going to happen in the season finale between the NFL's oldest rivals, the Chicago Bears, and the Green Bay Packers from Lambeau Field. All right, Groats, let's start with you because Whispers made us wait, so he's going to have to wait. This is a big deal. It's always a big deal when the Bears play the Packers, but now all of a sudden Green Bay has a chance to make the playoffs, identical to last year when they had to win the last game and Detroit knocked them off. Now the Bears have that same opportunity. Seems like this Bears team is just brimming with confidence right now.
Yeah, they are. And I mean, I think it's of course, it's a great opportunity to do in the Packers. And I think that the fan base would take huge satisfaction in that. And I'm sure the organization would too. But I look at it more as another opportunity for the Bears and their development, what they've been doing all season, because you are obviously going to have, in theory anyway, a very motivated Green Bay Packers team that will be going all out to win this game. And so I love that this game is not just a blow off for the Bears in terms of, if Green Bay had already been in. You know they would rest starters. I mean, that's just the way the NFL works. That's just the way it's done these days. So I just love the opportunity for Justin Fields to potentially follow up what he did last weekend for the Bears after what really has felt like a horrendous season at times, to finish on a strong note and continue the strong note that they've had going recently.
Well, just looking at the Bears, they're kind of going in on a little hot note, winning
Yeah.
5 of their last 7 and
Mhm.
having a nice little win streak at home before they go on their last road trip. Also, Jordan Love is a different quarterback than what they faced in week 1. He seems like, Mark, that his confidence is brewing. I remember someone in the organization was early on was talking about that he may not be the quarterback, and it seemed like that lit a fire into him, and he's just been like killing ever since. Talk a little bit about that, William.
Yeah, man. I mean, he's had some bad games this year, but on the overall, he does feel like a quarterback on the rise. I don't know that he's going to rise to the stardom that Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre did, which is, of course, the number one nightmare of all Chicago Bears fans. But he looked decent in that first game against the Bears. I mean, that was a horrendous game for the Bears, obviously, to begin the season. But it's funny, and Bears fans won't want to hear this, but we've had a couple of guys on the score, a couple of notable, football experts, one being Peter King and another being Chase Daniel, the former Chicago Bears, backup quarterback. And now he does his own YouTube show. Both of those guys were asked the question of, who do you think is going to have a better career in the NFL, Jordan Love or Justin Fields? And both of those guys, really without hesitating, said Jordan Love. And it doesn't have to mean, again, that Jordan Love's going to be a superstar or that Justin Fields is going to be bad, but that just tells you that there's some pretty respectable names in the NFL that cover the league and have played in the league that really see it in Jordan Love.
Well, since you brought up the quarterback issue, we got to jump on that. I mean, I think Stacey agrees with me. We'd love to see Justin Fields come back, trade that number 1 pick for a bounty of picks, and build around Justin Fields. But you see polls being done by different outlets. It seems like the fan base and a lot of national experts are saying that they'd be crazy to pass on Caleb Williams. Has Justin Fields done enough over these last 6 or 7 games since he came back from injury to sway the opinion of Ryan Poles to maybe make a big investment in him in a contract and build around him?
So hard to tell, because I think that my initial thought in my head is no, but I do wonder what they project, because if you just look at the season as a whole, there hasn't been the big jump. There was a big jump in the last game, and I said that when I was hosting the show earlier this year. I saw a discernible difference. It moved the meter for me, and it was one of the first games that did that. But there's just so much in the body of work and some of the things, the problems that we've talked about all season long and throughout Justin Fields' career, which still exists. So it could be a case of too little, too late. And also, look, I mean, Caleb Williams is an undeniable prospect. He's a better prospect than what Justin Fields was. A lot of people say that he's the best prospect since Andrew Luck. And I know that USC didn't have a great year, and that he struggled in some big games as well. There's no doubt about it. But because the Bears, I mean, and I like the idea of adding around Justin Fields, because you're going to get a haul, and we've seen the connection with DJ Moore, so that is certainly a plausible thing. But I'll ask you guys this question, or maybe it's just rhetorical, and that is, does Justin Fields need star receivers to thrive in this league? Like, can he do it with average guys? And so far, he has not shown that he is able to do that, that he's had this great connection with DJ Moore, who probably should have been a Pro Bowler this year. But can Justin Fields make other wide receivers better? I mean, on his watch, let's face it, Darnell Mooney has kind of digressed.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I like Caleb Williams, but I don't know if he's gonna be the answer if the Bears were able to pick him up. I think he lost like 6 of his last 7 games at USC against some really good defenses. The kid that I have a lot of respect for now watching is the Washington quarterback, Penix. Like,
Yeah,
no
he's
one,
good.
no, let me tell you something, man. No one is talking about this
But he's
kid.
had 2 ACLs and he's 24 years
Listen,
old.
I don't care. That kid throws the best deep ball in college football. His accuracy on all his passes were amazing. Plus, he can stand in the pocket. He's a pocket passer that can get outside and run. Why isn't his name being mentioned for the Bears as well? Because if he wins the national championship, Brody, against Michigan, who's a pro-style team, do you think he moves up in the conversation?
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, his stock has definitely risen. I don't think he's going to leapfrog Caleb Williams, but I don't know that it's completely out of the question of him leapfrogging Drake May, who is the quarterback from North Carolina, the other guy that it's almost just assumed will be the second quarterback taken in the draft this year. The Mark mentioned the injuries. The other thing too is, and I get it, it's like, let's watch what he's doing now. There was about a month of the season this year where Penix did struggle, which is why I think why his stock is not as high maybe at this point as some people would like it to be. But absolutely, I mean, we've seen this with quarterbacks in the past when they play big time down the stretch and they play big time in college bowl games. That does win guys over. So I do think his stock is on the rise. I just don't know if it's enough to pass up those top two quarterbacks.
Hey, let's bring our buddy Whispers in. Whispers, we've got the battle of the Northwest suburbs. Lucas Van Ness against Cole Kmet. I know we're trying to get those guys in studio after the season. Whispers, you still with us? What are you forecasting? I know Van Ness had a sack.
He looks like a Oompa Loompa.
Van Ness had a sack in that first game at Soldier Field.
He is.
Yeah, he's had a couple of good sacks this year. But I think I'm going to go with the Bears. I think the momentum is on their side, and I think there's a lot to prove. And a lot of people try to secure Justin's job for him. I think you're going to see some extra effort by some guys out there because he has the locker room, which is something that doesn't get discussed enough. When you're a leader and you have control of the locker room, it means a lot. And if you're a guy who paints his nails and pets his kitty after games, maybe you don't have control of the locker room.
Wow.
Man,
That's why we bring in Whispers for that kind of analysis and insight.
We honestly brought him in just to see how ready he was, because I'm trying looking at the screen. It just seems like he's getting ready to explode at any minute.
That could be. I get a little worked up over this.
Look at him. Look how ready he is.
Are you going to be back in time for the game, Whispers, or are you going to watch it down there?
I'll be down here for another week or so.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Hey, we miss you.
Is he in Green Bay? Is that?
Not looking like that, Mark. Not looking like that, Mark. No.
He bled right in Green Bay.
A Florida sunburn and windburn.
Oh, nice.
He's down at his palatial estate in Fort Myers.
Yeah.
Good for Whispers.
Tim has a vacation home.
Like in three different places.
Yeah.
And they're all hot.
Amazing.
They're all hot. That's why he's always looked red.
Whispers is well connected. Hey, the defense has been fantastic, Mark. It's really been a top 5 unit over these last 6-7 games or so. And the getting Montez Sweat, signing him to an extension really sets the table for them to improve. I noticed that Jalen Johnson has been did not practice the last 2 days, so his status I'm sure is in doubt for Sunday. But he made the Pro Bowl, as did Sweat. The defense looks in good shape. You think Flus is going to keep himself on as defensive coordinator for next season?
Yeah, I mean that's a great. And by the way, Jalen Johnson did say on the score that he will 100% play in the game.
Okay.
Even though you're right, he has not practiced yet this week, but he did tell us as well today that he expects to play in the game. And I think that maybe if it wasn't a contract year and Jalen Johnson's got a lot to prove, that he may sit this game out. But I think this is one of those cases where he's like, you ain't not keeping me out of this game. As for Flus, though, it's funny. I mean, like, first of all, you got to get Flus, you got to get that, real vote of confidence that he is actually back this year. He's done a great job of play calling with the defense. I do think it would be a good idea, though, for him to hire a defensive coordinator just so he can continue to be the general of the whole team and have focus on everything that's going on game day. But I will say this, that whomever they hire, I would like him to, impose his will on the game plan. And I don't like that. And I know that whoever would come in probably wouldn't particularly care for that. But I do think that he has shown that his vision of defensive game plan is pretty good and a lot better than his predecessor this year, Alan Williams.
Well, I'm telling you right now, I expect Eberflus to be back because I think he's done a good job under the circumstances. of having to take over that defense, and defense has played well, and it's won games for him. So I think that part of the team is solid, and it's only going to get better if they go through this draft and they trade the #1 pick, and then they're able to get another pass rusher to go alongside Sweat, get some offensive linemen. But one of the things my biggest thing is the offensive coordinator. Listen, I don't ever want to say somebody should lose their job because I just I don't like that. But
Stacey loves everyone. He's not like that.
hey, listen, I don't
He's
want
a
to
lover,
say
not a fighter. We know
yeah,
that.
Mark, I don't want to say that he needs to lose his job, but I'm gonna tell you, he kind of ticked me off the other day in the last game against the Falcons. Like there's a minute and 30 seconds left in the game. Atlanta has no timeouts. Okay, all you gotta do is run the ball. Just run the ball, run the clock out. Okay, game's over. Okay. He tries to throw a pass.
Almost got Fields killed.
And Fields almost got killed, fumbled the ball.
Yeah.
They got and then they end up recovering it back. And I'm sitting there saying, wait a minute, Getsy, when you need to be aggressive, you're not aggressive. When you don't need to be aggressive, you're aggressive. There was no need to be aggressive there because you're up 20 points, and all you got to do is just run the ball out. You let your running backs run the game out, and then the game's over. What were you thinking, Mark, on that play?
It's been an uneven season for him for sure. And I not all of it is on him because there is a point where the players have to execute. But I think it's 50-50 for Luke Getsy, maybe even a little bit less that he's going to be back this year. It just seemed like that too many times this year. There have been moments like where the first drive has always been great. The scripted plays this year, he's been terrific. And then for whatever reason, there have been these, and it didn't really happen in the last game. And I do understand the critique you made, but at least in this last game, they put up points and there wasn't that lull in the second and third quarters. Now that doesn't mean that he's saved because for once there wasn't a lull in the second and third quarters offensively. But just kind of for whatever it's worth that they overcame that this week. But that is something that I marked down, just like I was talking about with Justin Fields. Justin Fields had a great game this week, but I look at the whole evaluation. Same thing with Luke Getsy. When I go back, I'm going to look back at the tape and say, where was the aggression in certain places in the second, third quarters? And then Stacey, to your point, where was the let's run the football, let's run some clock, you have a lead, and maybe some of those big leads would not have evaporated as they did this season in a couple of cases, which some of which obviously goes on the defense too.
Did you catch some of Aaron Rodgers? He was on with his buddy Pat McAfee, and he was talking about the Packers' dominance of the Bears. And he's talking about and they can't beat us. And I'm like, hey, you fucking play for the Jets now. Just shut up,
Stay out of Bears and Packers business, Aaron Rodgers.
Wow, he's already got his foot in his mouth already with the Jimmy Kimmel situation.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. He doesn't need to talk about nobody else. Matter of fact, if I'm the Jets, I'm telling him to stay off the McAfee show. Stay off the McAfee show, man, because you have now created a firestorm now, boy. And oh man.
And they're trying to get McAfee fired, some people.
Well, let me tell you something. There's a lot of people don't like him anyway. They didn't like
Yeah.
that part of the show anyway. ESPN paying all this money, bringing him in. A lot of people lost their jobs because he took that space up. And I like him, but at the same time, when you're calling somebody a pedophile and you're putting that on national television and people are hearing that, come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on, man. There's certain things that don't need to be said. Stick to football, bro. Stick to football. Tell me how your Achilles is doing. Tell me when you're going to come back next year.
Are we going to hear a report soon that Aaron Rodgers is trying to renegotiate his contract to get an extra $500 million to afford the lawsuit?
Yeah, I'm telling you. Or he'll file bankruptcy and go live in Montana. I'm telling you, man. Man, because Jimmy Kimmel ain't playing about that.
Oh,
no.
Jimmy loves a little back and forth, man, but that was
a cheap shot.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
especially in the way people convict you of things in the open field or social media. You could turn a whole bunch of people against Jimmy Kimmel just by what he said.
Well, yeah, he said he put his family in danger. Which is true.
Yeah, man, that was just really low blow. Again, he's in the comfort zone with McAfee. And he feels. I mean, he's talked about the shots. Talked about the COVID shots, and people sit there and you roll your eyes when he's talking about that, and he's telling you don't need the shots, you should do this, and I mean, better. He's like Trump when he said you need to take the Tide Pods. He's basically doing those kind of things. It's like, dude, just stick to football, bro. Stick to football. Talk about your rehab. Talk about coming back next year with that great defense that they had in New York this year. Unfortunately, they didn't have the offense to match, but talk about that. Don't be talking about things that you know nothing about.
Yeah.
You start talking about that Epstein stuff and who's on the list and all that. Ooh, that's you don't want to talk about that, bro. You had somebody knocking on your door with the Men in Black sunglasses on and a black and white suit.
He's a loon. He's kind of a loon, and now he's stepped over the line a little bit. So, yeah, he is. He's something, man. I'm curious as to what he'll say next. But I guess McAfee. I didn't hear it myself, but I think I heard on my radio station. I guess he did apologize.
Yeah,
I guess McAfee apologized.
Yeah, he apologized. He apologized. He tried to make light of it though. Like it was just like we say a lot of stuff on here, and we have fun and da da da. But that wasn't fun, bro. That wasn't joking. That was straight. Like I'm going for the jugular thing.
Right. Well, lucky for them, Kimmel sort of like in the tweet that he shot out. He did kind of say it was almost like a warning. If you keep talking about it, I don't think he's suing anybody, but if they continue to talk about it, then they're going to get their asses sued and all that stuff.
My lawyer be contacting him. I want some of that jet money. You're not gonna put me out on blast like that with the way people think anyway, because people you're guilty, and even if you're proven innocent.
Yeah, and there's some people probably that didn't even see the rebuttal by Jimmy Kimmel and just ran with it. And, just talking, Jimmy Kimmel might end up on the Jeffrey. And there's probably some people who will never believe that Jimmy Kimmel was not a part of the Jeffrey Epstein tragedy.
And my thing is like, the people behind all that, that's got this list, so-called list, is like you're creating a firestorm. Like, you want to, we're going to release only 100 names of all the names that are on there. Like, but why are you doing that? If you're going to release all the names, release all the names. Don't just release 100 people, let 100 people be stoned and have to wear a scarlet letter. Get everybody on there. If they all were involved, everybody's name should be released.
It reminds me of that, what was it called, Shanowski? The steroids list that came out,
Balco?
Yeah, the Balco.
Yeah. There was like the Mueller. I was gonna say the Mueller report, but that's that was something else. The Mueller report. But yeah, that was like this like it never got released, but it got leaked, I think, and that was the technicality that a lot of guys like Sosa and some of these guys that were allegedly on the list were able to kind of hide behind.
Yeah, I'm asking a question about Aaron Rodgers and dominating the Bears. We got into a real big tangent there, so you never know what's going to happen on Gimme the Hot Sauce.
You never know. We just bring you the news.
Or Bears Packers week. You never know what you're going to talk about. So.
Well, if Aaron Rodgers wouldn't have said if he would just stayed out of it, we wouldn't even been talking about that.
That's true.
Yeah. See, Mark, he said we beat the Bears. Yeah. We're this, we're that, and then so Mark brought his name up.
Shit! Wait a minute. Does this mean that he's going to go back to the Packers after this He's going to do like LeBron James, or LeBron James felt like he had to go elsewhere for a little while, and then he's going to come back home again and destroy Bears fans, or what?
No, Brett Favre's going to come out of retirement at 60. He needs money to pay his legal fees.
Wow!
Did I say Brett Favre?
Wow!
Brett Favre. You said Rodgers.
Okay.
Yeah, you said Rodgers, but yeah, I can see Brett Favre coming back too.
Hey, Whispers, before we let Grody go, you got anything for him?
Well, first of all, that Whispers on that Epstein list is not me. It's not the same guy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But two, one thing that I keep watching these guys talking about this Fields thing, which is driving me nuts, is can't you just keep him for one more year and still draft a guy, or draft a guy later on the board, even a Penix, whatever, see how it works out and just go one more year? And even if you have to franchise tag a guy and really find out, why not do true analysis over that period of time? You've got plenty of cap space, a lot to work with, and why not really play with it?
You'd be minimizing that asset if you just did that, because that first pick is worth so much in a trade. If you just took a quarterback and have him battle it out.
I'm talking about later on in those picks, so Mark, like if you took like a Penix or something.
Yeah, well, it reminds me of what maybe what Washington did once upon a time ago. Remember they drafted Robert Griffin
Yep.
III, and
Kirk
then
Cousins.
they drafted Kirk Cousins out. If I'm not mistaken, wasn't he a second rounder
No,
though?
yeah, it
Kirk
was.
Cousins?
I think he's even later than that. I think it was third
Yeah, it
round.
might have been like a fourth rounder, maybe something like that. So if you do have both assets, you could eventually trade one of those assets, whichever one becomes more valuable. Sometimes it's the guy that doesn't even play that's the more valuable asset. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things on the table, and that is a plausible possibility. The other thing, though, only problem with that is it's ridiculously expensive if you were to draft two guys in the first round. Eventually, that kind of thing is going to cost you. But I mean, I do understand we're talking about picking up the option and then maybe the franchise tag, but that stuff gets pretty expensive, and that's why you never see two really good quarterbacks typically on a
Right.
roster.
Right.
Yeah, I just think it's a mistake to I mean, just watching Fields and some of his escapability that he did this weekend and getting out of those jams where most quarterbacks would have fell on the ground and got sacked. He kept the play alive, was able to use his legs and get outside and make plays. You just don't find that with everybody, unless her name is Lamar Jackson, or Josh Allen. Josh Allen does that. Patrick Mahomes can do that too, but they're not the athletes that Justin Fields is. My biggest thing is that they got some good players, and I think if you get an offensive coordinator in here that can that is used to working with a quarterback like that, it can put him in a system where he can thrive. I think they're really close right now. Their defense is on the rise. Their offenses look better the last 4 or 5 weeks. I just think you just got to stick with the kid, move that number 1 pick, go get you some pieces and build through the draft. Get Marvin Harrison Jr. or the kid. I'm gonna tell you the kid from Washington.
Yeah, Dunze.
Dunze.
Yeah.
Woo! Hey.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm telling you, that boy can play too.
Yeah.
So you can get one of those two guys to come in and be the other receiver. I just think that, with the weapons that he has next year, you got with the Cole Kmet in the middle of the field, which they don't use a lot, which I don't understand. That guy's like he could be a Jason Kelsey, Laporte guy from Detroit. He could be those kind of guys. The kid from San Francisco, Kittle. We don't use him enough. And I think if they used him a little bit more and gave him some safety zones to throw instead of always having to go try to throw a 40-yard bomb to DJ Moore and start eating up the middle of the field sometimes, I think you're going to see a lot of success next year with them.
Like Justin Fields is he's still an incredibly tantalizing prospect, I mean, and I guess that it's still fair to call Justin Fields that because I don't know that we've seen his ceiling, and that's the part that I certainly don't know. And I think that scouts and Ryan Poles, that's their job. Their job is to project that. Do they think that, because you're right. I mean, Justin Fields might be the best athlete in the National Football League. It is definitely up for discussion. Definitely one of the fastest for sure. And we have seen it, intermittently excellence from Justin Fields. It's just some other stuff that he's got to clean up, but all the raw materials are there, and he's 24 years old. So, if they do stick with Justin Fields, I wouldn't be mad. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of lean towards Caleb Williams a little bit, but like it is like like you said, with the growing defense, and you would obviously add wide receivers. I don't think Justin Fields is going to have a bad career by any means, and it's going to be very interesting.
All right, Mark. Well, we'll let you go now. We want to have you on next week to talk about the season in its totality and look ahead.
Bears win, baby.
Big offseason coming up. Whispers, stay where you are. We're going to talk about your anniversary, how you celebrate, and all that coming up after a quick break. All right. We mentioned going into the break that Tim and his lovely wife Maureen are celebrating an anniversary. Whispers, how did you celebrate 31 years of wedded bliss?
Well, kept her in line, gave her another beating.
Oh my God! Yeah, all the things he could have said, and he goes there for a bad joke. I mean, are you kidding
me? Just like Whispers.
Where's Jeffrey Epstein when you need him?
Yeah, exactly. What the hell?
Man.
Caught you off guard, didn't it?
Oh my God! Yeah, he caught us off guard. All right.
You're lucky she doesn't listen to the show. Otherwise, he'd really have problems.
Yeah, where's Maureen at anyway? Is she in a closet somewhere tied up? Man, now you make me question you.
Yeah. We haven't seen her.
You think I'd let her hear that? Are you crazy?
Hey, I just found out that she didn't even know she was supposed to go on this vacation. It was a surprise. So do I need to call Dateline and get Keith Morrison down there?
Are we sure Tim's not on the list?
Yeah, blink twice if she's in the closet.
Yeah.
Right? Jeez.
Maureen, don't worry, Maureen. I know you're down there. If something happens, I'm gonna tell Keith Morrison.
We're sending the FBI to help you out.
Yeah, well, they're sitting outside watching me right now. So
Are y'all just down there by yourselves? Did you bring somebody with you?
just us. I guess Brian McGonagalls coming down next week.
Nice.
All right.
But he's staying down at his dad's place. We're gonna talk about maybe doing that brew pub up in Crystal Lake. So we'll see what happens.
Because McGonagalls is closing, right?
He closed on New Year's Eve.
Oh
Wow.
man, that's been a pillar of the Barrington community for the
Yeah.
longest.
Yeah, my home
Wow.
away from home.
What was the reason for it closing, Tim?
Well, they have the building for sale to unload it, but also the quite frankly, it's the taxes.
Wow. So
Yeah.
he's thinking about reopening up in Crystal Lake.
Yeah, over 10 grand a month in taxes for a little pub.
10 grand a month.
And we're not talking about sales tax. We're talking about just to exist
Oh
as a
wow.
retail establishment.
In the building that he owns.
So
What's
are
that?
you going to be a silent investor or a big time investor?
Silence is not my best attribute, so we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
So if they get your money, they're going to have to get your opinion, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I definitely. will
Tim's
throw
an
my opinion
investor.
around.
Tim's investment is just going to the bar and drinking. That's his payment.
Well, sometimes
that'll
that
cover
can
the
pay
10
for-
grand,
that
right?
covers the 10 grand. Just drink 10 grand worth of beer.
They can pay for a lot of bills. I paid the mortgage many times. over there.
Exactly. He's a regular over there. It's like Cheers. There's certain guys that go to a certain bar all the time. Tim is one of them. He goes to McGonagalls all the time.
Well, you were there a few times with me. You know how it
Yes,
goes.
yes, because Brian's my boy. You know, we go back a long way.
Hey, Whispers, you said you were down there by yourself, but I heard Christopher Walken was going to make a guest appearance, peddling
Well,
some
he's
hot
usually
sauce.
on the East Coast, but he came over to visit me to give me a little bit of news.
It's a brand new year. We've got to sell some hot sauce, Chris.
That's right. And the reason why I came over here to talk to Whispers is I was over there in Mar-a-Lago hanging out with that other great actor, Mr. Donald Trump, our former president.
He's on the list.
That's right. He's on the list, the Epstein list. I was on it too, but I got myself removed because there's a clause that once you hit the big 8-0, you're no longer considered attractive or sexy enough to be on the list. So I'm now off.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But one thing I can do is talk about hot sauce.
All right.
And this is the best hot sauce ever. It's now new down here in Florida, not because it's in the stores, but because I brought it to Mar-a-Lago for our President Trump, and he was putting it on his tacos the other morning.
So you sure that wasn't the only thing he was putting on?
No, he puts it on everything.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. He puts it on everything he can find. It doesn't matter. He puts it on documents that he hides in closets. he bloods stuff out with that red sauce. It's amazing. Anyhow, if you need to pick some of it up, you can find it at your local Jewels up there in Chicago. And if not there, go to the website, gimmethehotsauce.com, GIMME, hotsauce.com, and use some of the codes. They're still active until we get rid of a lot of that sauce that we have backed up in our storerooms.
What are some of the discount codes, Chris?
Well, you got Walking Q for free barbecue sauce and Walking Fire to get the 1871. And that's with any order. You don't have to do anything special. Just put the code in.
So for the folks who are spelling challenged, walking Q would be how would you spell that?
It's so disappointing when you ask me those kinds of questions.
I know you're 80 years old and you don't even know where you are half the time, but can you spell walking Q for us?
I can. It's just disappointing that our fans can't do it. WALKENQ and WALKENFIRE, as in fire. I mean, my God, what's wrong with everybody?
Well, how do you spell Q, though? Some people will spell it CUE.
No, just Q. Just the letter Q, Mark. Don't
The
get
letter
fancy
Q.
on me.
The letter Q. See,
The
I want
letter
people
Q.
to take
Q.
advantage of these great discounts so that they can get the product at a very affordable price.
That's right. And it's just free. I mean, that's better than not paying for it. You know what I mean?
No, not exactly, but that's fine. Christopher, thank you for stopping in
Christopher.
and let Whispers and Maureen enjoy their time in Fort Myers, all right?
All right, I'm heading back to Mar-a-Lago. Thank you.
Put some butter on yourself too. You lather yourself with butter, you lobster.
Hey, Stacey, we were talking about the college football games in the last
Yes.
segment with Mark Grody, and you were impressed with Michael Penix. Both games were really exciting. The Michigan-Alabama game goes to overtime, and then Texas had a chance to steal that win at the end. Who do you like Monday night?
Washington. The only problem with Washington, their defense gives up a lot of
Yeah, they
points.
do.
They're going to have to outscore, Michigan big time. But I think Penix, the way he throws the football, and man, I mean, he was on point. His deep ball is the best I've seen in quite some time at the college level. I mean, he was on point. You see right there, 430 yards, very efficient too, 29 to 38. And they can run the ball. I think their running back is hurt though.
He's going to play, though, they're saying.
Is it? He had
Yeah.
a foot injury. He was battling a foot injury. So Michigan's going to be tough though. I mean, if he
Great defense.
if he comes out there and throws for 400 plus yards against Michigan's defense, if I'm a NFL executive,
Yeah.
I'm taking that in consideration.
What did you think of the play Alabama call on 4th down?
What the hell
From the
was that?
3-yard line. It's
I
like
thought-
the snap was low, and it looked
listen.
like they panicked a little bit.
Listen, I thought Getsy took over. I thought Luke.
He
Getsy-
ran straight into the pile. Like
I thought that's a Luke Getsy play. That might have been his brother. Boots Getsy. He might have called that, but that was a horrible play. And you know what? Listen, Alabama got away this year without having a quarterback that can actually throw. Okay, let's just be real. He's super fast. He can run. You would thought that they would have more running plays. Tommy Reese is the offensive coordinator, and you would have thought that he'd have a little bit more of a game plan. And for the game to end that way in overtime, to run straight up the gut, where Michigan is really, really good for their defensive tackles, I was like, man, what are you doing? Like, that's the horrible play. The ball was snapped wrong anyway. They had a couple of bad snaps in that game that cost them field position. So Michigan was just a better team. You could just tell because they warmed down. Got down to the point where they warmed down, and they had too much versatility on offense. The quarterback was good, the running backs were good. They just had too much versatility.
They had 6 sacks, too. I mean, their pass rush was ferocious in that game. So it's going to be interesting to see really a contrast in styles. Penix throws the great deep ball.
Penix is better than Milroad.
Milroad,
yeah. You ain't going to get to him because he gets the ball out quick. And his receivers are all NFL type receivers. So it's going to be a good battle between a good offense versus a good defense. Well, great offense versus great defense. And whoever wins that battle is going to win the championship.
Well, my son Eric is a proud Michigan grad, so I'll be cheering for the Wolverines on Monday.
Eric, I tell you, Eric, it's over, Eric. It's over, Eric. It's over, Eric. It's over. Hey, listen, I like
Mark,
Michigan.
What's your prediction?
Michigan. Gotta go. Go blue, baby.
Yeah, I'm going Blake Corum, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, Michigan's a 4.5-point favorite, which I thought was really weird that they quickly made them the favorite. And you saw the way Penix played,
Well, it's only based off of Washington's defense. Washington defense can't catch a cold.
Yeah.
I mean, that's very similar to USC. Like, if your quarterback's not getting you 50 points, you don't have a chance. When you score 50 points and don't win in a college game, there's something wrong. And you go back and look at, I know Washington's undefeated, but there's games where their defense gave up 40-plus points. And, you got a team like Michigan that can run the ball with that offensive line, and you got a quarterback, McCarthy, that can throw and make plays. It's going to be a high-scoring game. It's going to be the team who can get the stops when they need it the most. And I think Michigan really has to be the favorite when it comes to that because their defense can get some stops, but they are facing a different quarterback than they faced the last time because Milroad was not even a threat to throw. I mean, it was all run. They played the run. They stacked the box, and they sacked him 5 or 6 times. He held on to the ball way too long. Penix is not going to do that. And Penix has played him in Indiana, so it's not like he's never seen Michigan.
Stacey and I are going to be in Charlotte, so I'll be checking the score on the phone and probably watch the second half on our phone on the bus.
Is that day of the game?
Monday night, yeah.
Who in the hell schedules?
I thought that last year they didn't even have any NBA games.
Who in the hell schedules a basketball game on the night of the
I don't think our ratings are going to be
championship?
real good Monday nights.
Who does that?
Yeah.
That is insane. I didn't even know that until you just brought that up.
It's a 6 o'clock Chicago time tip, so the game will be over by halftime.
Well, let me tell you something. I'll be watching the game.
Yeah, I'll be talking. I'll be asking Stacey a question. Hey, what? What? I'm watching football. I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Mark will be the one talking. Well, I'll be watching the game. So I'm going to have my laptop sit up there, and I'm watching the game. I'll occasionally chime in srirachas and, give me the hot sauce here and there. But if you don't hear me talking, you know what I'm doing.
I was wondering why Adam decided to take this game off. Now I know. It's a national title game.
Dirty. I don't understand why they would do that. That's a big time.
Because they haven't in the past. They kind of made that on its own island. Everybody takes it off. It's like the Super Bowl,
Yeah, and it's the same thing with March Madness. We don't want to, for the Final Four, you don't want to have any games scheduled on that.
Yeah.
Man, I'm disappointed, Mark. You should have told me that, man. That just ruined my whole day, man. I thought we was gonna get a chance to sit up there and have some wings and lemon pepper wings and not, like James Harden and just sit back and enjoy the show. Now I gotta.
You know what's gonna happen? All the players are gonna be watching the game in the locker room. We'll be sitting on a bus for an hour and a half waiting for them.
No, I'm leaving. I'm gonna catch a cab to the airport. I'll be on the plane. I'm like, let's get this thing going. They ain't find a way home.
Yeah, so it's gonna be an interesting game, a really good matchup. Hey, Whispers, did you pack some Magic Mind with you and stay sharp during your vacation in Fort Myers?
I did.
Yeah.
And
did you take that during happy hour? Does that mix well with whatever your cocktail of choice is?
It does, because the happy hour starts in the morning. So
oh wow.
After red my coffee with a little bit of whiskey, it's fantastic. They kind of battle each other, and so one brings you down, one brings you up. I'm just kidding, but you throw that in, with your coffee, and I also do use chagachino, which was something similar, but that's another story. With the adaptogens, the matcha, all these great things that are thrown in there. It adheres to the effects of the caffeine, so you get a boost without the jitters, which is really nice.
So it's a new year. Everybody's making resolutions. This is a good way to try to stay sharp going into the new year, right?
Yeah, what's great too is when you're on vacation like this, I can work till noon, and people think I put in a full day.
You're not fooling anybody. We saw Rich. She said you're just mailing it in.
Yeah, you're mailing it in.
Oh shoot! I thought I was fooling some people, but
no chance.
I feel good.
Well, let's attribute that to Magic Mind, baby.
And just remember,
she'll like it too.
She'll like it too.
That's right. It does have that effect too. It'll get some other things going.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Marine, run and hide.
So, Whispers, you're the king of the discount codes. How can the folks get a nice price on a Magic Mind?
That better look that up again, because it was changing based on a new deal here. So let me tell you what that is.
Well, while you're looking that up, we'll talk to Stacey. He's a big fan of Magic Mind.
Yeah, yes. He's been using it as well.
Yes, matter of fact, I take it before every game, and it's replaced my all-time favorite little energy drink. I'm not going to say it because we're not a sponsor.
That's right. Yeah.
If you want to sponsor us,
we'll be happy to say your name.
I'll be happy to say it a million times, but we ain't giving no free advertising, baby.
Draw out that telestrator.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. But Magic Mind, let me get back to Magic Mind, man. Magic Mind is really, really good. There's no crash. There's no crash to it. It took me a while to get used to the green. I'm not used to drinking green stuff, but it's very healthy, and I like it, and I take it. And as a matter of fact,
you were actually afraid of it, which is kind of interesting.
Who's afraid of it?
You were a little afraid of it at first. You kind of looked at it and I don't know.
Well, anything looks like it came out of a baby diaper. Of course, they're gonna be afraid. Okay, I was afraid at first. Okay, I don't like green stuff like that. So I tried it. I went against it. I went against it. I went against my normal thing. I don't like green stuff. I tried it and it was good. And I'm glad I tried it. I keep it in my bag. I use it before games. And hopefully the people at Magic Mind will continue to endorse us and give us a little bit more. What? Who said that?
Green means go.
Yeah. Yeah. Give us some more Magic Mind. Give us some more Magic Mind.
Well, all you have to do is to get up to 50% off your subscriptions. Go to magicmind.com/Stacey Kings. All one word. magicmind.com Stacey Kings.
Yeah, just remember. She'll like
in other words, Stacey King's Magic Mind.
Hey, well, listen, all right. Hey, just enjoy it. If you get sick, don't be using my name.
Hey, before we get out of here, it's America's favorite segment. What are we watching? Whispers. You probably haven't watched a whole lot of TV since you're down in Fort Myers.
Willy Wonka.
You got a recommendation for the folks?
Well, I watched the longest movie ever made in history, and didn't really realize it. I got into it. It was so well done, in my opinion. True story.
What's it called?
The Killer of the Flower Moon.
Okay.
So it's the latest Scorsese film
Yes.
with Leonardo DiCaprio, Robert De Niro,
Yes.
and very, very well done. Based on a true story in the 20s of the Osage Indians down in Oklahoma and Missouri. And at that point, they were the wealthiest people on earth based on oil that was, so they were sent to a reservation, these Indians, basically a desert where there's nothing there, but then oil was found, and they became the wealthiest per capita people on earth for quite a period of time. But the mayhem that went on during that time, the theft and the murders was unimaginable, and it's very well done, very focused on a specific family, but remarkable and very well done.
So they were trying to take the land from them?
Yeah, that was all what it was about, the rights and stuff. So white guys marrying the Indian women, call them squaw men, and it was quite and a lot of guys, it just didn't work. Their whole job was to just ruse the people in the town and rip them off and steal their jewelry, and they because they were Indian reservationists, they had what they called counselors, or basically people guardians that would allow them to withdraw X amount of money and so forth. Like, everything was controlled. I mean, true disaster. It was, but very well done. I mean, the way Scorsese does stuff and telling a story, very emotionally pulling, and how they focus on the one family. I highly recommend it.
Stacey, what do you got?
Well, I was a big wrestling fan growing up, and one of my favorite families was the Von Erichs, and I grew up watching them because they were from Texas, and I being from Oklahoma. And Fritz Von Erich was the first guy that I followed, and he's the patriarch of this family, and it's a true story, and it's so well written, and it's a family tragedy, because no family should have this much tragedy. Seriously.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, listen, to lose a son, to lose a child is there's no pain that a person can never feel. It's never had that happen to him. That's like a pain you can never even express how much that hurts. This guy lost 5 sons. He had 6 sons. He lost 5 of them. One, his oldest son, when he was wrestling, got electrocuted in a puddle of water, just a freak accident. And then he got his other boys into wrestling, because he was one of the top wrestlers in the world. And he was, he had the iron claw, and he used to put the iron claw on people's heads, and their heads would just start bleeding. And when he first came on, he was the heel. He was the guy that everybody hated, because he came on as this Nazi wrestler, and people hated him because he'd do a high Hitler and all that stuff. So he became a mark. Everybody hated him, and then he changed a new leaf, and then he became really famous. And then here comes his boys, and it just goes the story of how they got into wrestling. The father driving them into wrestling, and they were all really good. They were all very good wrestlers, and they just all died mysteriously. They called it the Von Erich curse, when they were little, and it carried over, man. I mean, 5 of the 6 boys died. There's only one left, one, and the mother. That's it. And just a crazy.
The Rock grew up with them.
Who dat?
Wayne Johnson.
The Rock.
Yeah. Their wrestling alliance was like WWE now. Fritz Von Erich was the Vince McMahon of their particular, the WCW. They were the main wrestling circuit. There's a lot of little local circuits in the country, but he was the one who kind of consolidated all of them and made them like one big entity. And that's where, you got Vince McMahon took a page out of his book, and then, the rest is history with Hulk Hogan and all those guys. But they were, back in those days, you had like Ric Flair was there. You had, Rocky Johnson, Dwayne Johnson's dad was in that group. You had Pork Chop Lane. You had the Freebirds. You had Ricky Steamboat. You had Jimmy Superfly Snuka. They had a ton of people in that wrestling alliance. But the Von Erichs were the royal family of wrestling. And they were really, really good. They were dynamic. They were athletic. In Dallas, right?
Huh? They were in Dallas, right?
Yeah, they were in Texas. And
Yeah.
just watching them wrestle, they were doing things that people weren't doing back then, with their athleticism. And Kerry Von Erich had an opportunity. He was supposed to go to the Olympics as a discus thrower, and he was on the Olympic team. And that's when Jimmy Carter canceled the Olympics, and he didn't get to go. And so then he came and got into. The dad came to him and said, "Hey, because he's supposed to win a gold." And his dad said, "Hey, once you come and get in the wrestling family." And then that's when he came into it, and then the rest is history. He won the world championship. He beat Ric Flair. Kevin, the oldest, is probably the most athletic of the group, but it always had the dad pitting the boys against each other. Like he had his favorites. He even said it too, like Kerry's my favorite. This guy's second. You're third. You're fourth. He had favorites. It could change at any minute. He always say. And you grow up in a household like that, man. You're constantly trying to win your dad's favor, his attention. But they were a great family, and it's just a tragedy, man. It's just, whew, it was sad to see that because I remember it and just go back and relive it and hear the inside stuff that happened. It's unbelievable. Oh, great movie. Go check it out.
Yeah, my recommendation, if you haven't been picking up the latest season of Fargo on FX, you got to check it out. It's really, really good this year. I know some seasons are better than others. This has been fantastic. John Hamm plays a corrupt, kind of a MAGA type, waving the flag, and he's in a small town in North Dakota, and he rules everything with an iron fist, and basically he sets the laws, and it's just really been fascinating to see him. If you saw him on Mad Men or in some of the sitcom stuff he's done where he plays a really fun characters, he is the ultimate heel in this. The last episode, one of the billionaires is trying to get their daughter-in-law back that he has held captive, and so they send the lawyer to try to negotiate a deal with John Hamm. So, he's kind of listening to him. All of a sudden, he pulls this huge gun and sets it on the table. So the lawyer gets a little bit nervous. And so John Hamm finally looks at him, shoots him in the stomach. So the guy falls down. He goes, "If you're so smart," and then he takes out the gun and shoots him in the head, "why are you so dead?"
Damn, he killed him? He just murdered him.
Yeah. So he's basically the law. And it's dark as shit, but it's a great watch if you like that kind of thing.
So is it okay? So I never watched the Fargo shows. Are they different ones?
Every season, it's like True Detective. If you ever watch that, basically it's a whole new cast of characters every season.
Oh,
but it's all set in the Midwest. It's based on the movie Fargo.
Yeah, Fargo.
From
Yeah,
years ago.
which was good.
So this is great. So if you haven't checked it out,
wow,
I think they're like 5 or 6 episodes in. It's really good.
Don't forget Reacher.
Yeah,
Reacher.
I'm watching Reacher too. Yeah, Reacher's been good. Yeah.
Yeah, look at the Sriracha crew there. They're shaking their head.
Yeah, Reacher on Prime.
Reacher ain't
we'll do a Reacher recap next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, Reacher.
New episode every Thursday.
Every Thursday.
So we'll be watching that. We'll be watching that when we get home. So that's going to do it for us. We want to tell the folks how they can get a limousine ride. Is Mike back?
Yeah. No, Mike's still on. He's still
on injured reserve.
He's back. His back went out with the Doublemint twins. Yeah.
Jeez, you better take a trip to Florida.
Yeah, that's what I told him, man.
Needs the heat.
Yeah, get some heat. Get that sun that Whispers has. Windy City Limousine provides championship service. Making a reservation is so easy, it's a slam dunk. Let Windy City break the full court pressure of traffic and get you to your destination in style and on time. Contact Wendy at 847-916-9300. That is 847-916-9300, or visit WindyCityLimos.com. And I tell you what, I had a Windy City limo for New Year's Eve. And shout out to my man, Brian Hennigan, my second driver. We got home safely. We had a couple of stops we had to make, and got home safely before all the crackpots are out there driving. Yeah.
And shout out to Mike. Get well soon.
Get well, Mike.
Seeing you back in Palatine
Mike is a loyal listener too. He listens to the show every day. He's supposed to come back after the first of the year, which I'm counting the days now. It's like, but today's the 4th. So, Mike, it's after the first of the year. We need you back, son.
All right, Whispers, you can get back to your vacation. You're going to be back in studio next week, or what's the story?
No, I'm gone for another week.
He's gone for another week.
Hey, enjoy that place. You know,
Yeah,
you paid big bucks for it. You might as well take advantage of it.
Well, that was the thought.
Next week we're gonna do like a MTV Cribs. We're gonna go look at your whole house. I want you to get the camera moving around, and this is show us here. This is the living room. This is the kitchen. This is where the magic happens in here.
All right,
and then show my room. Show my room. I got a room in Whispers' house now. They got a Stacey King room. I'm coming down there.
We'll do a pre-show.
Yeah.
I'll get a couple of brews ready. We'll do a tour.
Yes. And we're gonna be taping it. We're gonna show it on the show, Whispers.
All right.
The life of Whispers.
Want to thank Dangerous D and Cisco for holding things down here, doing a great job as always. And want to thank Mark Grody for his fantastic work. We'll wrap up the Bears season and a whole lot more coming up next week. So make sure that you like and subscribe. We're trying to build up our YouTube subscribers. And you can check out the audio podcast on Odyssey or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
And remember too, your questions will be asked. I mean, we want fans to interact with us and come on Zoom and ask us questions. And we're not doing it this week because people are still mad about the fan that Tim brought on. So,
he's serving
really
a suspension right now.
He's really disliked. It's great.
Yeah. So you guys out here who listen to the show, we do these live questions. So we're gonna start having fans call in on Zoom and ask questions, and we have some fun with it. So make sure you tune in and find out when those dates are.
All right. So some exciting times coming up for the show in the weeks ahead. But until then, Stacey,
drive home safely, Chicago. Beep beep.
Oh my goodness! It's only preseason, but I'm hyped. Neil Funk, Jimmy G buckets gets buckets. Oh my goodness! Give me the hot sauce, Neil Funk. Give me the hot sauce. What are you doing, Dragic? Did you not get the memo?